Terry Winship from Mudita Concepts. And Mudita is a Buddhist term for finding joy in the happiness and success of others, which is exactly what I get from training and teaching people new skills. Let's just have a look at presentations. Do you know that every single day around the world, there are 35 million PowerPoint presentations that are delivered? That is an insane number. But the sad part is that 79% of the audience say that those presentations are boring. So my question to you is, do you want to be part of the 21%, or are you happy to be part of the 79% and be deathly boring? And 80% of people, when they attend a presentation, shift their attention away from the speaker. They do WhatsApps, they do emails, they look up the weather, they do all sorts of things. So we have to find a way to make our presentations engaging and enjoyable. The other thing to be aware of is between 10 and 18 minutes, just about everybody loses focus, which is why the TEDx talks are never, ever longer than 18 minutes. That's kind of the max. Obviously, the things you can do, I'm talking for 50 minutes today, and I'm planning to not bore you. So I will teach you some of the stuff involved in that. The first thing we're going to look at today is before you stand up and talk, or before you come up on Zoom and talk, people have already made judgments about you, and they're already deciding within the first 5 seconds of meeting you, are they actually going to believe you, trust you, and even listen to you? So these are things, some of it out of our control, and obviously some of it that we can control. But a recent study said within 5 seconds, people know if they're going to want to listen to you or not. So what we need to do is look at what we can change. So these are some of the things that people are going to be judging you on. Are you dateable? Are you promiscuous? And interesting, that is all around visible tattoos. People decide on your sexual orientation. They may not get it right, but they will make a judgment call. They will decide if you are adventurous, and this is actually to do with the way that you walk, interestingly enough. They will decide if you're going to be a friend or a foe. This happens in live meetings because that's to do with your smell or your scent. And they decide if you are going to be dominant. But these are things that have got nothing to do with presentations. So we're just going to swiftly move on from them. So what are the 5 things that we can influence? And we always think as human beings, we are not judgmental, but actually these are done in our reptilian brain. And for safety reasons, we have to sometimes make judgments. And these things happen subconsciously, but we can manipulate them. So the first thing, what we can do, and people decide in 1/10 of a second, it's like that, if you are trustworthy or not. And the sad news for everybody here today, me included, is that the more feminine, baby-faced, and happy you are perceived to be, the more trustworthy you are. So that's a bit unlucky because none of us are like that. But so what can you do? The very first thing you can do, must do, and do all day long is to smile. When you smile at people, it relaxes them, it makes them believe in you, and it makes them feel comfortable. The second thing to do with trustworthiness is to look people in the eye. We all know those dodgy people who won't look you in the eye. Is exactly the same when you're presenting, much harder on Zoom because you've got to look at the camera and it's awkward. But in life situations, make eye contact. And at the same time, don't do the serial killer stare and just focus on one person because they will be terrified and uncomfortable. So smile, look people in the eye. And then a very interesting thing, right at the beginning of your talk, when you're introducing yourself or your topic, if you lean forward slightly, tiny little bit, and I'm talking about slightly, I'm not saying bend over and do a yoga pose. If you lean forward slightly, people find you more trustworthy, because I think you're going into their space a bit, and you must be trustworthy if you're willing to do that. So when you go up onto a stage or your boardroom or whatever you're doing, start off by smiling, because that will make people trust you. Lean forward when you introduce yourself, and make sure you're looking people in the eye. Once people have decided that you are trustworthy, they are then absolutely going to buy into what you are saying, because they trust you, they're going to trust your presentation. So I don't know if anyone in the room knows of something called a Duchenne smile. So Duchenne smile is a genuine full body smile. It's when you smile with your lips, your cheeks, your eyes are sparkling. It is a smile that cannot be falsified. So if I smile at you like this, you can see it's false. You can buy into it straight away, and the trust will just plummet to the ground. But if you do a genuine smile, a real smile, a smile where your eyes are sparkling, and for goodness sake, if you're standing up on top of the stage and you've got this audience who's come just to listen to you, smile at them with gratitude, smile at them with joy. So do not, when I say smile at your audience, do not do a fake smile, because that will do you in even worse. Do a real, genuine smile, and you know that people are going to start trusting you more. The next three I've lumped together. People decide if you are of high status, if you are successful, and if you are likely to be promoted, which is around your potential earning. And all of this is to do with the clothes you wear and the image you project. There are lots of sayings out there: dress for the job you want, or clothes maketh the man, or if you want to do well in life, get hold of your tailor. So when people see you, they are going to make a decision about if you are of high status, if you are successful. And what's very interesting about the high status one is we judge people who are wearing named brands. If someone's got a Nike jacket, or I have to ask my 19-year-old daughter for what are the name brands, but we want to buy from people that we perceive are better than us. So I'm not telling you to wear a suit or to dress up. What I'm saying to you is be very aware that the clothing and the makeup and the image you're projecting might be out of line with the presentation you are trying to give. So if you were talking about sailing around the world and you came and stood up in a tux, there might be a mismatch. But if you came in your sailor suit or your whites, it's more likely. Or if you were a physiotherapist and you came to talk dressed in your green uniform, it's more in line with your talk. So while we all say we don't do this, we all judge people on how they look. And while we might be old, young, fat, thin, black, white, we can all put our best face forward. And this is essential when you are the focus of attention. I watched a YouTube the other day of a guy sitting in his broken down Volkswagen, whatever they're called, giving 10 tips on how to be a millionaire. And I thought, well, I'm sorry. If you were sitting in a Rolls Royce, I might listen to you, but sitting in a broken down car, absolutely. And the same as if I come to this meeting today and I just gone for a run around the block and eaten lunch, and I was sweaty and my hair, I had bed head, you're going to think, you know, she didn't even care to get ready for this meeting. We're not going to care to listen to her. So your presentation, your visual appeal is important. And that is something you can do something about. It's not a strange thing in the world. Now, interesting, people are always also going to decide in about a 10th of a second if you're smart or not. And people want to buy from smart people. We don't want to buy from, trying to be polite here, non-smart people. And what is very interesting is one way people judge you are smart is if you're wearing glasses. So there are speakers I know who've got like no lens glasses and they put them on to be perceived as smarter. And if you think of those weird scientists that have got the big black glasses and their white coats, we think they are smarter. So if you wear glasses, you're a step ahead. The other thing is looking people in the eye again. Once again, eye contact correlates to how people think you are smart. So, and it's human connection. We need to look at each other when we're talking to people. So make sure you do that. But one of the most important things that people judge your smartness is on your voice. So if I'm standing here and saying to you, oh, I am so very passionate about public speaking and it really excites me, people are going to think I'm stupid because my voice is not matched up with my words. So if I'm excited, if I love what I'm doing, if I'm passionate, people should be able to hear it in your voice. So invite your voice and your face to match up. So vocal variety is not, you don't have to be a drama queen. You don't have to go for lessons. What you need to do is vary. When you're excited, be high-pitched. When you are giving an important point, be deeper, be slower. Talk faster, talk slower. Have pauses. Don't just go from one point to the next point to the next point. People need time to assimilate and to think about your ideas. I find at networking, a lot of people read their pitch and their voice doesn't vary. It's monotone. So next time you do that, remember we're judging you as being stupid. So these are important things that we can do. Even if you write into your pitch, talk faster, talk slower, talk louder, talk quieter. I'm not saying do accents or anything like that. So before we speak, remember to smile. Do share and smile, a real genuine smile. Make eye contact. Lean forward slightly when you're making important points. Decide on your appearance, if your story of your appearance is matching the story of what you are talking about. Have an expressive voice, have an expressive body, have an expressive face. If you're telling your favorite story about your granny, smile. If you're shocked and horror and it's horrible, let us know from your body language. So these are things you can get right. Okay. So you've got all these things right now in the first 5 seconds, but you can still blow it. What happens is if you do anything that reduces your audience confidence in you, it's going to undermine your influence. So if I came up, if someone has just introduced me and I introduce myself, if Barbara's just said Terry's going to talk and I go, hi, I'm Terry, I'm a presentation skills trainer. Nobody cares. They want to hear your exciting, how you're going to open your talk. They want to get into it. If I'm doing something on Zoom and I'm going, can you see my slides? I want to say to you, oh my God, get your tech right. Because if you cannot get your tech right, we've lost confidence in you. We've lost confidence in what your message is. Practice it. Know where your share screen is. Have your PowerPoint open. Come to me. I'll show you how to do clever things in the background. But if you project yourself as having confidence and being in control, your audience will believe that you are confident and in control. If you're on a stage and you go up and you go, oh, these lights are so bright, or hit the mic, you know that terrible thing, do, 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 do. Is my mic working? Don't do that. Go early, make sure everything is working, because The minute you open your mouth, you can undermine any authority you've built up in your first 5 seconds. So this is crucial. So just to summarize, keep smiling, smile at each other, make eye contact, lean forward, wear your glasses if you have them, but most important, be an expressive person. Use your hands, use your face, use your voice so that people are not sitting listening to a monotone. Right, so that was the first 5 seconds under your control. What we're going to move on to now is something called show, don't tell. This is something I'm going to expect you to participate in. I'm going to show you some examples, and then I'm going to ask 1 or 2 or 3 of you to actually share some examples. So show, don't tell is a writing technique that came to business via literature. And it is a style of writing that immerses your audience in the reader as opposed to telling them. So I'm going to show you some examples just so it's easier to understand. Think about the business you're in and how you can introduce yourself with showing and not telling. So here's an example from literature. Michael was terribly afraid of the dark. That is telling. I'm telling you that Michael was scared. If we rewrote it, we could do something like this. As his mother switched off the light and left the room, Michael tensed. He huddled under the covers, gripped the sheets, and held his breath as the wind brushed past the curtain. Okay, so you can infer from that he's afraid. But we're not here for literature, so we're going to move swiftly on to business examples. If you were a truly global research house and you were going to introduce yourself, what does that even mean, truly global? How can you show us that you are truly global? So you could do something like this. Need advice on how to expand into South Korea? We'll put you in touch with our guys in Seoul. So you showing us that you are truly global. It's quite a subtle difference. You don't pick it up straight away. You have to keep working at the show, don't tell. But it is powerful because people understand, as opposed to being, if I stood up here and I said, you know, I'm a presentation skills coach, I'm the best in my job, I'm this, I'm that, people are bored. But if I say to them, I trained 20 youth in the last 2 months for TEDx Coach, TEDx Youth, and they're all on the stage, it's a different way of showing something. Here's another example for the global research house. Thinking of investing in Brazil? Don't do it until you've downloaded the latest report into the company's emerging economic trends by analysts in Sao Paulo. Once again, you're showing that you are global. Okay. If you read that they are an award-winning cruise firm, so what? I mean, you know, it's just a telling, and there's no credibility in that statement. We have to believe them or not. But if they said, the best luxury cruise firm in the Travelers Writers Awards 2021, gold medal in the Chef's magazine, #1 in the Happy Passengers, can you see they've shown us that they are an award-winning cruise liner? They've given us detail. We can go and Google that. We've got something concrete. So make sure when you're describing things or yourself or your business, you are showing us the benefits. It's about your audience, okay? I often see this on LinkedIn and I hear it in networks. I am a social media consultant. But why would I want to connect with that person? There's nothing there for me as the recipient. But of course, you could rewrite it to say, I can show you how to master social media presence no matter what your niche is. So I would think, okay, I could phone them because I know they are not specialized in an area. They will also teach me to master it. So just changing that emphasis on your sentence to showing, not telling, makes a big, big difference. I am a copywriter. So what? But if you wanted to entice me or interest me or make me lean forward when you're talking, say something like this. Be nice to me. I can write articles about you that go viral. So it's got that cheeky little sense of humor, and it's so much more attractive when someone is speaking like that. Okay, so move away from factual, from stats, move into more descriptive language, and make sure you're showing, not telling. So I worked with a lady from the UK who's an estate agent. We actually spent 6 or 8 weeks, and we came up with a statement that she uses when she introduces herself, which is her show, not tell. So once again, if she stood up and said, I'm an estate agent, you're probably all going to dismiss it because you're not even planning to sell your house. This is what we changed it to. I will sell your house in the fastest time at the best price with the least amount of hassle. So straight away, when you hear that and you're thinking, oh, your brother, your cousin is going to sell a house, you would contact her, because the fastest time, that's attractive. We want to sell our house quickly at the best price, of course, with the least amount of hassle. Absolutely. So can you see how we changed it to a show and not a tell? So now it is your turn. So is there anybody here who wants to just give it a try? This is a safe space. How would you describe your business? How would you show us what your business is? If you're a business coach, you could say something, Laurie, I'm coming to you in a second. Instead of saying I'm a business coach, you could say, I help you see the bottlenecks in your business you're too close to see. So show us what you're doing. Laurie, do you want to give it a try?
Hi, my name is Laurie, and I'd like to invite you to imagine how it feels when your child has been diagnosed with cancer. I help parents step outside of those emotions so that they can make clear decisions for their child.
Nice. Can you see, as opposed to saying, what would you say, a life coach or a parent coach? I mean, anyone.
I don't know what I am.
Most of us don't worry about it. But if you had a child with cancer who doesn't know what to do, you would immediately contact Laurie, because she's told you the situation and what she can offer, as opposed to saying, yeah, I don't know what I am, but I could probably help you, something like that. So give it a try now while we've got some time and you can get some feedback from others. Who wants to give it a go?
Right, shall I give it a go then?
Yes, Barbara, you give it a go.
So I would say I love supporting small independent business owners and helping them to thrive by teaching them to build connections, connecting them with people who can help them, and giving them a safe space to be their authentic selves.
100%, as opposed to saying I'm a small business coach or something, because we know that it's small businesses. You gave us the detail. It's not corporate. You're going to help them make connections. You're going to connect them with people, going to provide a safe space. So just from hearing you talk about it, your business, I know, should I connect with you, or is it not something that's going to work for me? And what you want to do is, in your 40-second pitch, or when you're talking, you want to filter out your audience. If you were working with corporate, you don't want all these small businesses to phone you or not. So the more, and so we're taking probably one sentence and changing it into 4 or 5. So it does take longer, but it's much more useful to your audience to have something like that. Should we do one more? Oh, okay, 2 more. Maja and then Paul. Maja. You need to unmute. Oh, I think I did at the same time as you.
Thank you, Terry. Imagine you would have a singing bowl on your body, laying down, You can feel the vibrations combined with the sound, and you can really, really deeply relax. And I'm the person that can bring you to this state, and where your whole system can start to heal from wherever you come. If you want to try the singing bowl massage, I'm here for you. Maya Dietlow, sound therapist.
Absolutely, because you use the word imagine, which is a very powerful word in public speaking, because as human beings, we cannot help but imagine. Then you said the singing bowl on your body, you can feel, I'm not sure of your words, you can feel the stress lifting off, you can feel yourself relax, you can feel yourself heal. And if you do the words and the actions, we're already starting to get hypnotized and we're gonna follow you. But it's a way of describing what you do so we can feel it. And I could definitely feel that if the singing bowl was on my body, that I could feel the stress go, I could feel myself healing. Okay, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. Should we do Paul, and then we're going to move on?
Thank you, Terry. I'm Paul, and I'm here to help you with that nasty subject of energy. We all need a friend in this life who will sit down and go through all the things that you need to look at. But what I would love to do is give you the best options that we can to enable you to make those informed decisions and allow me to help you cut the costs of what you have, bring it all into a helpful environment that will give you the best options that you can. I'm Paul from Paul Helps People. Everybody needs an energy friend, and I look forward to being exactly that for you.
Absolutely. So your statement about helping reduce costs, and you can play more on the friend, is like, do you have a best friend? You know that feeling of a best friend when you're safe and you understand each other. And I'm your energy best friend, and I will help you save costs. It's something like that. But well done, and applause to everyone who gave it a try. Now we're going to move on to something else. Oops, just give me a second, just after I've spoken about tech tips, and here I am faffing around here. There's a very interesting thing about talking and talking about business, is that we don't use parables or stories or fables or stuff, but as human beings, we absolutely love hearing parables. Literally, if you Google them, there are hundreds. And I could say to you, and I worked with, and some of you might know her, Jeanette Jones from Any Green Will Do. So we were looking at how she can describe her eco business. And we found this parable, which was just perfect. So she starts any speech she's giving with this. One day, an elephant saw a hummingbird lying flat on its back on the ground. The bird's tiny little feet were raised in the air. "What on earth are you doing, hummingbird?" asked the elephant. The hummingbird replied, "I have heard that the sky might fall today. If that should happen, I am ready to do my little bit in holding it up." The elephant laughed and mocked the tiny little bird. "Do you think those tiny feet could hold up the sky?" "Not alone," admitted the hummingbird, "but each must do what he can, and this is all I can do." So can you see how it is telling her story? She says any green will do. Change your light bulbs, get better soap, do this, do that. But she's told it in a story. So I would suggest sometime in this next week, go and Google parables. Go and Google fables. Make up your own parable. I often, when I'm talking, I talk about my granny. She may or may not have said that in real life, but I use my granny as a way of introducing that warm, safe feeling of love and of roasting biscuits, etc. Parables are incredibly powerful. You can have a moral in your story without you being preachy. And literally, you can find stories to match any message you want to get across. So I'm going to urge you when you're going to do a presentation, or even in your 40 seconds pitch or somewhere, find some parables that you can use to explain what your story is about, because I think you will find it very, very worthwhile. I'm not actually going to give you a turn now. Normally, if we're doing a longer session, we have a 15-minute break so people can research parables. I'm giving that to you as homework, because I do have a bit of school teacher in me, I think. So do your homework. Find some parables, find some stories, find some stuff that illustrates what you are about or what your company is about. Paul, you could probably find one of a best friend, of a lonely person walking in the jungle, and the mouse met the elephant and they became friends. There are millions of stories out there. And there is no rule that says you can't make up your own story, because we know that a fable or a parable or an example is a story. I've got a whole bunch of business stories. I tend to go for the more humorous ones, but all of them have a very good message. So in the last 18 minutes, we're going to look at descriptive language. The descriptive language is what takes you talking from a boring to a different level. Another thing I'm going to suggest to anyone, if you're doing an insight, a foresight, a training, is I have got a clock on my screen, so I can always see where I am time-wise. And it is a very good idea. If you've been given 10 minutes to talk, do not talk for 20. Respect people's time, respect people's interest. So have it on your cell phone, have it on your screen, have it on your second screen, but it's up to you as the speaker to watch your timing. Don't bore people to death because you are just going on tangents and never getting to the point. So often when people are doing a presentation, they give some facts about themselves. So here are my facts. I was born in Johannesburg. I was born on the 18th of October, 1962, and I obtained a Bachelor of Commerce degree. First of all, it's deadly boring. Facts, does that really tell you anything about me? Except my age, probably, and that I'm from South Africa. But facts do not give you my soul or my passion or what I'm interested in or my story. So research has shown over and over and over that facts, statistics, and figures, if you use or you overuse them in your presentation, the audience will retain 5% of that. It'll just go in and out. But if you tell stories, people will retain 65% more of what you are talking about. So take a moment and write down 3 facts about your life. Where you were born, when you were born, and something else. Some other deadly boring fact about yourself, because these really are not interesting to anyone bar your mother and whoever's got to buy you a birthday present. Okay. Does anyone want to quickly share 3 facts with us? Someone who hasn't spoken. You've spoken. Sorry, let me find someone else. Tim, give us 3 facts about your life. I'm volunteering you.
Okay, I was born in London in 1958, so slightly older than you, and I'm an ex-bank manager.
Okay, perfect. Do I know what makes Tim smile? Do I know why he's doing what he's doing? No, I don't. He was born in London. Okay, so facts like this, we all tend to use them to build a picture about us, but there are much better ways of sharing facts like this. So if I took that I was born in Johannesburg, I could become a little poetic, and I've used this actually in a talk that I give. Johannesburg, city of my birth, a frontier city filled with glitz and glamour, a city with an underbelly of sleaze and violence. So this is a little bit maybe dramatic, but what it does is it tells you a little bit more context. And I'm fairly sure if Johannesburg is on the news tonight, you're going to think that it is a city filled with sleaze and violence, or glitz and glamour, hopefully. But take sentences and make them more descriptive, more poetic, more interesting for your audience. The thing I'm going to caution you about is whatever words you're using to describe yourself become associated with you. So I don't really want to be associated with an underbelly of sleaze and violence, quite frankly. I mean, I don't want you to remember me by that. So I did some more research on Johannesburg then. And I found out that within 1 century, Johannesburg transformed from a tented camp to a tin shanty town to 4-story Edwardian brick buildings and now to a city of modern skyscrapers. So those are facts about Johannesburg, which on the face of it are quite interesting, but there must be a reason why you're telling people these facts. So what I need to do is take those facts that Johannesburg has transformed 4 times and relate it back to my life. Why did I use that example? And I could say something like, this has been a constant theme in my life. I'm always changing, reinventing myself, growing and trying new things. So I'm relating my personality back to the Johannesburg I was born in. And then I can give you facts. I've been an IT manager of a large international corporation, an award-winning restaurant owner, and now a full-time trainer. So if you're going to give facts or stories about the place you were born, make sure you can relate it to a personality trait that you want your audience to remember about you. I want you to remember that I'm always reinventing myself. I'm always learning. I'm always doing new things. So you've all wrote down where you were born. I'm going to give you a few minutes. Can you think of a way of describing where you were born with a way that could tie in with a personality trait you want your audience to believe in? I was born in London, the London of bankers, the London of integrity, the London of foreign exchange. And here I stand before you to help you with all your banking issues. So it's something like that. So you're taking a boring fact, you're finding some information, but you're using it to illustrate yourself. Okay. So it's no good just telling us, you know, Johannesburg changed from this to that. That's an interesting fact, but no one cares. But if you tell us, hey, but I'm the same. I was born in Johannesburg and I'm changing. And why is it benefit to your audience? Because I'm always learning stuff and I'm teaching stuff, something like that. So anyone want to give it a try? Paul.
I have actually used this more in tongue-in-cheek fun more than anything else.
That's
a long time ago in a faraway galaxy, born in the middle of the Welsh valleys in Cwmcarn, there once was a little boy who was born in 1966, who went on to be the start of the superhero you now know as Energy Man. I know it's a bit of fun. I know it's a bit of
but the fact that it's a bit of banter is just so much more interesting than if you told us when you were born and where you're born. We want to be entertained. We want to learn stuff about you. We want to know you, but we don't want to do it and get bored to death at the same time. I'm going to give you some more examples just so you can get a feel of what we are doing. So I'm going to take, I was born on the 18th of October, 1962. So what you can do is look at what happened then, when, how, who, why. Were people happy, sad, angry, surprised, disgusted? Use your senses, what vision, what hearing, what touch, taste, smell. So I always use the story and I go, my grandmother always told me, I was born at the end of a drought in 1962, the longest, hottest summer in living memory, with the smell of felt fires always lingering in the air. She told me about the violent, rumbling thunder showers every night that ended in disappointment. But on the day I was born, the heavens opened. And I use that energy to transform your speaking. So once again, You made a story about when you were born. So if I look at what happened in 1962, I can look at what happened on the 18th of October, hundreds of websites. I can see if it's the national day of something, what is the meaning of October, what star sign, what Chinese year. I'm the year of the tiger. Easy to build in a story about being the year of the tiger. Numerology, mine always adds up to 1. So the world is your limit. Find an interesting way to describe when you were born. So if I look at what happened in 1962, Nelson Mandela was captured and sent to prison for 27 years. Marilyn Monroe was found dead. The first James Bond movie was released. Blowing in the Wind was released. So I could introduce myself and tell you, I grew up in apartheid South Africa. I was born in the year Nelson Mandela was declared the enemy of the people and imprisoned for treason. This was the soundtrack to my life. When I went to university, the scales fell off my eyes and the truth of what I'd been told for 18 years was challenged. I now saw Nelson Mandela as a freedom fighter against massive institutionalized injustice. I did a 360-degree turn from my upbringing, spent my varsity years protesting and demanding the fall of apartheid. I was 27 years old when Nelson Mandela was released. I remember dancing in the streets of Hillbrow, where every color of the rainbow nation danced together until the sun rose on a new dawn of hope. You see, I can get a little bit, but I've taken a story to illustrate the city, the country, the world I was born into, which will give you some information about me. One being that I'm open to changing my mind, that I'm not stuck and died and stuck in the ground. So choose your stories with care, because they must illustrate something about you. But there are so many ways of doing it. And by the way, I was born on National Chocolate Cupcake Day. And I want to say to you, like me, one dollop of frosting, one sweet serving will satisfy your cravings. There literally are thousands of things you can do to be more interesting. And now it is your turn. So look at the month you were born in, the year you were born in, come up with a little story. We have 7 minutes left, and I would like everyone to have had a turn today, please. Find, if you're the year of the rat, what does that mean in your life? If you're a Libra, are you always in balance, out of balance? Can I balance your business? Take something and build it into something that we can remember you by. And you don't have to be all literary and fancy like me. You can just tell us interesting facts, you know. Yes, Adam.
Okay, so my name's Adam. I was born on, I'm going to give you the full date, Winston Churchill's birthday, 30th
Yes.
November. I'm very proud to say that. London through and through, financial centre of the world. Had 2 careers. My first career was in the city. I can tell you about financial crises I've lived through, but you might want to have 2 or 3 hours for that. That's it.
So what you need to do is tell us why Winston Churchill was significant for your date of birth. Okay, because you said I was born in when Winston Churchill was born.
30th November.
Okay, and then tell us what would be significant about it. And like Winston, I've fought battles against corruption or bad accounting or bad business practices. I've fought them on the streets. I've fought them on the seas. Do you see what I'm saying? Don't just give an interesting fact. You must relate it to a character. But well done, well tried. Nora, I can see you on my screen, hiding, making no eye contact.
I'm laughing here because I was born 4th of February 1961, and it was the day Sputnik was launched. I entered the orbit, and it's sort of there's correlations there. Okay, this is what I have on my writing site, right? And hello, Falcha, how are you? I'm Nora Day, and I'm delighted you found me. I'm from Ireland, Wicklow to be exact, the Garden of Ireland it's called. I think that's where my love of trees and secret garden places comes from. I lived on an estate a bit like Downton Abbey for the formative years of my life and never lost my love of the countryside and old houses. My feet were built for wandering. We moved into house number 5 just before my 6th birthday. Far from putting me off the idea of ever moving again, I adore the excitement of new places and together with numerous locations in Ireland have made my home at various times in London, The Hague, New Zealand and now Ireland again. Because that's me. And there's no point in me saying anything else.
So what I want to say, you did very well. Instead of saying, telling, I like traveling, you showed my feet were born for wandering. Did you say something like that?
Yeah.
And you see, it's just this subtle change of language, but much more poetic, much more interesting to me, because when I think of Nora, I'm going to think of her feet were born for wandering. So when you use descriptive language, when you use relative language, it sticks in people's brains. I'm sure if I meet you in a year's time, I'm going to go, Nora, whose feet were born for wandering. But if she just said, I like traveling, for goodness sake, we all like traveling. I mean, that we humans, we like to travel. So I know we're doing it in a quick time and you need to really sit and think through this. But anytime you're talking and you're more interesting, you're more appealing to your audience, first of all, they're going to like you. And this is about know, like, and trust. And if they like you and they trust you, they're going to listen to you. But if you start out and you are boring and you go, I was born in Johannesburg on the 18th of October 1962. I got a BCom. By then, 50% of your audience are already on their phones. They're already WhatsApping their partner, best friend, energy friend, going, oh my God, this is the most boring presentation I've ever attended. And really, it is about crafting your words. Look at your opening, look at what you're using, and work on every single sentence to make it more interesting, but it must be relevant. It's no use me saying I was born on the year Nelson Mandela was jailed, unless I tell you why that was significant. Like I said, I was born on National Chocolate Cupcake Day, and a dollop of me is enough to satisfy you. You've got to relate it back to yourself, else you're just giving us another bunch of boring facts. Right, Lauren's had a turn. Jane, do you feel up for giving it a go?
Yes, now I've unmuted. Yes, so a week before I was born, the world was in the middle of the Suez crisis. My mother was despairing about what kind of world she was bringing me into. But that crisis turned into a hopeful new future. And that's what I'm all about, is helping people see that ends are just new beginnings in their lives.
Can you see what a perfect segue? Born in the Suez Canal War, but that wasn't just a fact. It was a reason of doing what you're doing. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Well done. That it must relate back to you. Don't give us a fact unless it's significant in who you are or what you do or what you offer. Christine, I can see you on my screen. I'm very good at volunteering people. So, we have got 1 minute left. Christine, have you unmuted?
Did you mean me? I don't see a Christine.
Oh, there's a Christine. Christine.
Oh, sorry. I did. Sorry.
There is a Christine as well, but I'm not sure. Christine, are you trying to unmute? Alt A. Try Alt and A. It will unmute you. Not working.
I'm happy to go.
Okay, we'll go. Sorry, Christine.
I'll go quickly.
Perfect.
I was born in March 1962 in Blackpool, the north of England. I'm a sand grown. I was born by the south. I was born to hear the sea. I would watch the ebb and flow of the tides, and that connection with the environment has informed everything that I have done in my working life, including the connection that the clothes that we wear on our back have with our environment. I'm helping women to save the planet one dress at a time.
Nice, nice, absolutely perfect. So we still have 10 minutes, I think. because I time my talk. So if anyone has any questions, any comments, anything they want to say or ask, now is your time.